Welcome to the weekly Bodkins Sports Wrap-Up.
Welcome to the first ever Bodkins Weekly Sports Wrap-Up. So let's just get right into it. Let's start with the biggest league in the world, the NFL. What we thought was going to be a slow week turned out to be huge, massive week in the NFL. First, Calvin Ridley decided he was going to gamble last year, and the NFL caught him because his tagger name was Look at Me, I'm Calvin Ridley, betting on FanDuel. Bet $1,500, lost, and now will lose his salary for next year. Suspended all 16 games. Kind of sad. Anyway, he's done. If you don't know who Calvin Ridley is, Falcons wide receiver. Second big news on Tuesday, Aaron Rodgers stepped up and said, I'm not fucking going anywhere. I'm not going anywhere. He's coming back to Green Bay. Green Bay tags Davante Adams. The band trying to get the band back together to make one more final run to the Super Bowl as they failed short not once, but twice the last three. Actually, I guess 3 times the last 3 years. So Aaron said, I'm coming back. The Packers are trying to work out cap shit and get all that situated and get the band back together one last final time, hopefully, or maybe 2 years, depending. If they win next year, I firmly believe Aaron's done. He said that retirement was a huge possibility. Contract's not situated. There was a lot of rumors of like $200 million fucking dollars and shit like that. 4 years, $200 million. That's not true. That deal has not been made like a new contract as far as, but he's already under contract for the Packers, so it's not like he's a free agent. It was just that they had like a handshake agreement type bullshit that said like, hey, I either am going to come back, but then it was like, hey, I'm going to come back or I'm going to fucking retire. He said, I'm coming back, boys. So just when you think that's going to be the biggest news of the week in the NFL, the Seattle Seahawks and Denver Broncos said, hold my fucking beer, because they made a big-ass blockbuster trading Russell Wilson to Denver for 2 1s, 2 2s, 3 players, Drew Lock, Noah Fant, and a defensive tackle. Now, if you ask me, I think Denver really won the trade. Anytime you can get a legit quarterback, look, folks, there's 32 teams. The most important position in sports is the quarterback. And second of all, there's only about 10 real good, legit quarterbacks where they're going to lead you to a Super Bowl. Russ is one of them. If you ain't got one of them guys in the top 10, you're probably not going to win. So, with that being said, Denver probably wins the trade. Seattle, smart move, I thought. Trading Russ, getting some picks, getting some players. Look, they're probably going to finish 4th with Russ. They're probably going to finish 4th without Russ. At least now, you got some compensation. They recouped some picks. They had lost for trade for Jamal Adams, which was a dumbass trade. Anyway, got the picks back. Denver probably still going to finish second in their division, but looks to be a playoff team next year, at least for the wild card. And once you're in the dance, anything's possible. Just ask the Bengals. Nobody thought Cincinnati would make the playoffs beginning of the year, much less be in the Super Bowl. So all you got to do is get in the dance and anything's possible. And Denver looked to make the right choice and got their guy. They got a hell of a fucking offense. That defense still stout if you're not a Broncos fan. So look out for the Broncos next year. Then after that, the Washington Commanders said, hold my Kool-Aid jammer. And they traded for Carson Wentz. That's right. Carson Wentz going from the Colts. The Colts were like, get rid of this fucking guy. We fucked up. Carson played a little hurt last year. Is just, 3-4 years ago, it feels like a lifetime ago, that Carson Wentz was once going to be MVP, but then he got hurt. The Eagles went on a run with Nick Foles. He's never been the same. Now he's going to his 3rd team in 3 years, headed to the Commanders. If you don't know who the Commanders are, they're formerly known as the Washington Football Team, formerly known as the Washington, not allowed to say. Trying not to get canceled on my first fucking day on the job, So that's kind of all three of the big NFL moves. Last night, Khalil Mack, Bears linebacker, got traded to the Chargers. I about said San Diego, the LA Chargers, for a bag of fucking peanuts. Like a fucking second and something else. I don't even know. Like a second and a sixth. A bag of peanuts. The Bears gave up like 4 firsts like 5 years ago for Khalil. Still a hell of a player if he's healthy and motivated. The Chargers needed to make something because they got a squad. They're just going to be in a hell of a tough division now with the Broncos, Chiefs. Raiders made the playoffs last year. Who knows what they're going to do going forward. Derek Carr going to be their guy? We'll find out. Who knows? They're smart to keep him, but if they say, hey, look at our division, we need to get rid of this guy, ship him to Indy or ship him to somebody else, possible. Doubtful, but possible. In the NBA, Lakers still suck. ESPN, TNT, please stop showing the fucking Lakers on TV, please. They're awful. Nets did get a big win over the Sixers last night. Huge win after their trade of Harden and for Simmons a couple weeks ago. Simmons still yet to play for Brooklyn. Harden didn't show up last night, but then showed up. When he doesn't show up on the court, folks, you can always find Harden someplace else, and that's at the Titty Bar. He was shown at the Titty Bar with a couple of his buddies, I think DaBaby, and I don't know these rappers these days, but that's what Harden was doing. He's too busy balling at the strip club instead of balling on the court, and that's why you should never trade for James Harden, folks, because when it's crunch time, he's balling someplace else, and it ain't on the fucking basketball court. So anyway, Nets trying to get back in. I think they've been awful too. So in the East, they're trying to climb, but that was a big win for them. Kind of showed some weakness of the Nets there. Or the Sixers last night. Lakers still suck. They lost to like the Rockets the other night. I want to back up on the Lakers too real fast. The Lakers, I never liked the when they got Russ Westbrook because I just thought him and LeBron's game is too much alike. Too many guards. Russ has never been a great shooter. LeBron needs to be surrounded by shooters. So what are we doing here? The pairing hasn't worked. It's a bad marriage from the start. It's going to end at the end of this year. Lakers could possibly miss the playoffs. ESPN, I'm not even going to spend any more time talking about them because everybody hears about them, and they're awful, and we need to stop talking about them. Let's talk about the Suns, who are first in the West without Chris Paul. Let's talk about those teams. Let's talk about the Bulls, baby, and other teams that are coming up, and stop talking about the trashy-ass Lakers. We'll see what the Nets do on the East. I still think if they can get in, when you got Kyrie, if Kyrie can fucking play, who knows what the hell, if you're not above the situation, if you're not aware, Kyrie can't play home games due to vaccine shit going on in New York. You got to be vaccinated to fucking play in New York or some shit. He's not vaccinated, refuses to get vaccinated. So he can only play away games. But allegedly that's getting changed maybe in New York. I don't know, but there's still some bylaw or some shit that's, I don't fucking know. Either way, Kyrie can't play home games for now. May change. If it changes by the playoffs, watch out for the Nets because obviously when you got two of the best 10 players in the league, Kyrie and KD, when healthy, they can go. So watch out for them. NBA playoffs coming up in just about a month. College basketball getting ready to start. The tournament starts next week. They're finishing up conference tournaments. We'll get into next week's picks next week on the old college basketball next week on next week's wrap-up show. And we'll have a new segment called Bodkin's Bets where we're going to bet on some games, talk about some games and things like that. And that's where we'll come in with the college basketball. In the UFC, last Saturday, Colby Chaos Covington beat his bitter rival, Jorge Masvidal, in a boring-ass fight that he pretty much won all 5 rounds. I had Jorge win in 1. It was everything everybody expected. Colby just too fast, too good of a wrestler, and Jorge is a stand-up guy who can fight. I'd like to see Colby try to take on winner of Burns and Covington, or Burns and Hamzat, I actually think if Hamzat beats Burns, he probably faces Usman next in that class. I think Jorge, who knows where Jorge goes? It's just big fights for Jorge. Maybe he gets Conor in the summer. Maybe a rematch with Nate Diaz. I think those are all possible. I think he needs a big fight, like a guy that's just going to stand up and fight and throw blows. Jorge needs to stop fighting all these wrestlers, man, because, well, dude can't fucking wrestle for UFC. He can out-wrestle us average Joes out in the world, but he can't wrestle the greats in the UFC. So, yeah. That was pretty much it. Other than that, that kind of cut off I think that was UFC 272 last Saturday. So that covers the UFC. In other big news, just when we thought baseball was dead, they rised up like the Undertaker one last time to get a deal done on yesterday. Yesterday afternoon, baseball struck its deal. If you weren't aware, they were on fucking strike. And well, I take that back. They were actually a lockout. The owners locked the players out. So anybody that's bitching about the players, this ain't the fucking players' fault. They were trying to play. They're trying to get it's all the owners. Greedy ass corporate fat fucking cats, the owners. They don't give a fuck about you or anybody else. They're just trying to make money. But anyway, they got a fucking deal done. Got a deal done that looks like baseball's going to start in April. And we're going to have 162 games. NL will now adopt the DH, and so there's that. Rob Manfred still hates baseball, I believe. Baseball needs to do something, folks. I mean, I love baseball. Obviously, you see I'm rocking the Cubs hat, Cubs sweatshirt. But, baseball needs to do something. It's like, I think my generation's the last of the generation that's going to follow baseball. I don't really know any two young 20-year-olds that are watching baseball. At least, there's just so much. They don't market the game well. It's not advertised well. I think the regional broadcast is messed up. The blackouts are messed up. Here, I know in Missouri that Cardinal fans can't even watch their regular shit. You got to fucking get a super special package to even watch the Cardinals. So they're not on Fox Sports anymore. Baseball needs to fix some shit. And don't do dumb gimmicky shit like no bunting or no fucking dumbass shit like that. Like, let's be real here, man. Let's get back to baseball. Like, let's get runners on first. Let's fucking move them over. I don't really like I heard that they might be canceling the shift, which is a dumbass idea too. Man, if you can't hit the fucking shit, hit it the fucking way. I always say hitting the fucking baseball is one of the hardest things to fucking do in the world, maybe besides play fucking golf. But learn. That's what you get paid. That's what you get paid millions to do is fucking hit the fucking baseball. So learn to hit it the fucking other way. If they're all fucking to the right side, learn to slap it to the left. Fuck, lay down a goddamn bunt. You could probably run there because ain't nobody covering third because he's over fucking shortstop. So just learn to do it. In baseball, it's just fucking home run or fucking nothing. What are we doing here, man? Let's get back to the old ways of like the mid-90s, early 2000s where guys were running on base, stealing bases and shit like that. Anyway, well, that concludes this week's weekly sports wrap-up with myself, Bodkins. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, share. I'm going to try to do these, knock these out once a week. There'll be little, hopefully 15, 20-minute videos of just wrapping up the weekly sports. I know everybody's busy, ain't got time to fucking get all into it. If you want something to talk about next week, leave a comment, leave your questions. Follow me on Twitter at Bodkins at Twitter. So, yeah, y'all have a good weekend. Some good fights on the UFC. Thiago Santos is back. I think he's going to lose, actually. This Ankalev guy's pretty good from Russia. So, big college basketball weekend. We'll see who's going to be winning their tournament, who's getting those seeds and number one seeds this Sunday, Selection Sunday this Sunday. So, big weekend in sports. We'll talk to you next weekend.